Hey everyone, my name is Janet. Now let's dim the lights.
Oh, the horror!
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things spooky, uninviting, and downright horrific. As usual, I don't take myself seriously. I hope that you don't either. I'm just here to provide lighthearted, digestible reviews, and if you are looking for something more straightforward, there are YouTube channels that do that. I'm just not one of them. Some very exciting news that I found out this week. My favorite Halloween horror movie, and one of my favorite horror movies of all time, is getting its first ever theatrical release. I'm talking about the 2009 film Trick or Treat. It was originally released straight to tape or VOD, which back then just meant that they were expecting the film to completely flop. But on the contrary, I do believe that it's one of the most notable Halloween villains of all time. You may not have even seen the movie, but you might possibly recognize the character. It's the little pumpkin head. He's actually quite adorable. I've always thought he was just the cutest thing in the world. His name is Sam, I believe. But yeah, it's finally getting a theatrical release in Regal movie theaters, and you bet your ass I already have my ticket for that. But get this, it's only playing at certain Regal movie theaters on October 6th only. So luckily you can already book your ticket. I booked mine last week and the theater was already half full when I booked it, and I think it was still August then. No, maybe it was the beginning of September. But either way, if you do want to go see this movie, I would highly encourage getting your tickets now because it will definitely be booked by the time it comes around. Today's video is coming a little later than expected. I originally had this movie in my calendar as an August 31st release, and I do believe that it got pushed back to this weekend, so September 9th. I saw it as early as I possibly could. I saw it on Wednesday night, but by the time I am releasing this on Friday, it is widely available in movie theaters. I am talking about the movie Barbarian. Not to be confused with the 2021 movie Barbarians, which was also a horror thriller, which featured Ramsay from Game of Thrones, and I actually never saw that one. So if you've seen it and you think it's worth watching, leave a comment below because I would totally watch it. Barbarian is a 2022 horror movie written and directed by Zach Cregger. It includes some pretty big names, including Bill Skarsgård, who is best known for his role as It, as well as Justin Long, and also includes a newcomer, Georgina Campbell, who did a pretty great job. I was kind of shocked to find that the synopsis for this movie almost exactly mirrored that of another one that came out last month, Gone in the Night, which I talked about a little bit in my August wrap-up video last month. I mentioned in that video that I am such a sucker for a cabin in the woods, strangers-esque kind of movie, and this one looked right up my alley, or I guess in this case, an endlessly winding deep wooded road. But that one kind of got me last month, so I was going into this one having no expectations of how I thought it would play out. Barbarian centers around a young woman, Tess, traveling to Detroit for work. She books an Airbnb, and when she arrives late at night, she's dismayed to find that the house has already been occupied by a man. Assuming there had been a miscommunication during booking, she decides to stay the night so they can resolve the issue in the morning, but a double booking soon becomes the least of her worries. The fan is back. My camera's shut down at least 15 times already in the process of making this video, so I've been fanning it off every couple of minutes, myself included. Okay, I was so pleasantly surprised by this movie. I had a feeling I was gonna love it, and also the movie theater was completely packed on the opening night, so that is also a great sign. But if I can't convince you in this review, I believe that the ratings currently stand at like a 7.4 on IMDb and a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sure as the reviews pour in, that will naturally dip a little bit, but it's doing great. I want to first say that this movie was somehow charmingly simplistic and yet completely unexpected at the same time. The filmmakers definitely misled us a time or two, and it kept us on our toes the entire way along and completely flipped the switch on our expectations. In fact, in an interview, director Zach Cregger said that this film is all about subverting expectations. It's all about being a step ahead of the audience and zigging when they expect you to zag. What I was least expecting from this film that it completely delivered on was the twisted humor. The whole audience was in absolute stitches more than a few times, and that was mostly thanks to Justin Long's character. Now, if you've seen the movie Tusk, you can probably understand how he is the champion of humor when it comes to horror, and his delivery is pretty similar in Barbarian. In this film, he plays a cocky filmmaker who is escaping some pretty serious allegations against him. And I don't think that I am giving anything away when I say that, because you find that out in the first few minutes of being introduced to his character. In fact, there is quite a notable tone shift at the entrance to his character, and that's kind of when the film completely deviates from anything that we thought it might have been. I do have to warn my purist horror fans out there that this is one of those self-referential, comedy-leaning horror movies that are pretty trendy right now. However, that should not discount you from watching it, because it is so well executed, and at the end of the day, the horror element is truly at the front and center of the film. My only gripe with this film is that, as self-aware as it is, it still falls victim to that somewhat misogynistic expectation of the female character to give in to her maternal, nurturing instincts and help someone else out at the expense of her own safety. Now, I do think that was an intentional move, because we certainly see how that plays out. I don't want to give anything away, but we see it play out with its consequences at certain points. So I do think that the film is aware of how tropey that aspect is. But it was pretty hilarious, because the whole theater would let out this resounding groan every time she did something completely idiotic, just because it was the right thing to do. I'm just gonna say that if I were the main character of this film, it wouldn't even be a feature, because I would have been out of there and scot-free by the time the opening credits even finished rolling. But I guess that's easier said than done. I'm going to make this one short and sweet today, but I will wrap up my review with this. The ending of Barbarian was fucking awesome. It really drove home the point that the filmmakers were trying to make along the whole way, which, at least to me, didn't really feel clear until the very end. Without giving anything away, it really just forces us to zoom out and look at the big picture before we decide to pin down who we think is the villain. I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to give this one. In some ways, as I mentioned, it is so straightforward and simplistic, but the more you think about it, the more you realize that it is the opposite of that. In fact, in that same interview, Kreger mentioned that when he was writing this film, he didn't have an outline. He was literally writing it the same way that he would watch it as an audience member. There is a helicopter circling my house right now, so this outro couldn't come at a better time. But God, I love this movie so much. And you know what? I make the rating systems around here. So I give this one an 8 out of 10. It is so worth seeing. Go see Barbarian. It's in theaters now. Don't forget to go check out my September and October letterbox lists. If you're anything like me, it's really hard to organize my watch lists, especially when there's a million good movies coming out, which there are in the next couple of months. I think there's already close to 30 movies in my September list, and I'm about to go upload my October list right after this video. So yeah, next time you need help picking a movie, just head on over to those two lists, and I'm sure you'll find something amazing. All right, well, if you've stuck around this long, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it and you want to subscribe to it. See you next week. Side note, look who's been sitting behind me the whole time. Stinky, do you have anything to say to the audience? Can I get a statement? There you have it.